This is Joan. I'm continuing my study in the Korean. I'm on Sura 12, which is Yusuf or Joseph. Before I start discussing it further, I was going to read something from the Christian Bible, but it's praising God. Seek Him that makes the 7 stars in Orion constellation and turns the shadow of death into morning and makes the day dark with night, that calls the waters of the sea and pours them out upon the face of the earth. That's in the book of Amos. I thought I would mention that it warns about alcohol consumption, also about drinking wine. But this section is about a family reunion of Joseph. Jacob is his father, who is a really godly man. And what happens is his son Joseph is sold into slavery, and he is given eventually to a governor. The governor asks his wife to care for the child, who is at the time, he's 17, so it's pretty old, and says he might adopt him. He does end up working for the Pharaoh, but before that, he goes through a temptation with the governor's wife. It talks about how to handle it, and she was really attracted to him, but he was attracted back, and it discussed a shirt being torn. The husband realized that his wife was a worry, and she asked how it was handled, if the man Joseph would go to jail or be punished, and Joseph chose going to jail in preference so that no further lust would happen. He ended up working, I thought it said that they used a term like Potiphar, which meant an accountant for the Pharaoh. After that, he started caring for food storage in the area, and eventually was reunited with his family. He asked, they didn't recognize him because a lot of time had passed since they had a problem with him and put him in a well. But he asked them to bring another brother back, and he was glad to see him. In the end, it says that he was invited, a family was invited. It was Jacob, who was Israel, and his 11 sons and wives, also servants, were later invited by the Pharaoh to live in Egypt. So it's pretty neat. It's talking about peace between Arabic type people, Muslims, and Jewish people getting along. And then what I thought was interesting, I had read before earlier in my life about a character named Imhotep, Imhotep. He lived in the time of a pharaoh whose name was Djoser. Imhotep was the first doctor. He lived about the same time as Joseph. It says 2650 BC, and what's interesting about him was he wrote a book on the treatment of wounds, broken bones, and tumors. He was an astrologer, and this is a part where he was an Egyptian architect that made pyramids, so that was interesting. And says he was a chancellor to the Pharaoh in the 27th century BC, founder of the 3rd dynasty, which is a succession of rulers who are all of the same family. And apparently he was so wise that they almost deified him in history.